Good morning everybody. So today I will discuss about the shoulder joint anatomy and clinics especially used in the orthopedics. So the movement of the shoulder joint, there is adduction, pectoralis major, latissimus dorsi, short head of the biceps brachii and the long head of the triceps muscles causes the adduction. Extension is caused by posterior fiber of the deltoid and the latissimus dorsi. Flexion is caused by pectoralis major, the clavicular head and the anterior fiber of the deltoid. Abduction 0 to 15 degree abduction by the supraspinatus muscle, 0 to 90 degree abduction by the deltoid muscle and 90 to 180 degree abduction by serratus anterior. Medial rotation is caused by pectoralis major, the anterior fiber of the deltoid, latissimus dorsi and the teres major. Lateral rotation is caused by posterior fiber deltoid and the infraspinatus and the teres minor. So what are the rotator cuff muscle? The rotator cuff muscle is the supraspinatus, which causes 0 to 15 degree abduction, teres minor, which is the lateral rotation abduction, the infraspinatus muscle, which causes the lateral rotation, and the subscapularis muscle. These are the rotator cuff muscle. Now coming to the ligaments, there is a capsular ligament, there is a glenohumeral ligament. Glenohumeral ligament, there is a superior, middle and the intermediate fiber in inferior fiber. Between the superior and middle fiber there is a gap which is known as foramen of Whitshed. Due to this foramen of Whitshed, there is a anterior dislocation of the shoulder joint, which is most common dislocation. Now coming to the coracohumeral ligament, there is a root of coracoid process to the neck of the humerus. The ligament is attached. It basically stabilizes the capsular ligament. Now coming to the transverse humeral ligament, which bridges the upper bicipital groove. So it bridges the upper bicipital groove. Now blood supply, anterior circumflex humeral vessel, posterior circumflex humeral vessel, suprascapular vessel and the subscapular vessels. Nerve supply is the axillary nerve, musculocutaneous nerve and suprascapular nerve. Now coming to the bursa, there is a subacromial bursa which separates the acromion process from the coracoacromial ligament, the subscapularis bursa and the infraspinatus bursa. Relation superiorly, what is present? Coracoacromial arch is present, subacromial bursa is present, supraspinatus and the deltoid muscle is present. Okay. Inferiorly, it is the long head of the triceps and the axillary nerve, posterior circumflex humeral artery. Anteriorly, there is subscapularis muscle, coracobrachialis, the deltoid and the bicep short head. Posteriorly, there is infraspinatus, teres minor and the deltoid muscle. So this is about the basic anatomy of the shoulder joint. Now coming to the brachial plexus. So we have to just mark up the brachial plexus, and the brachial plexus is really, it is a tough to remember all the nerve roots. So I have made just a few things that is very much important, and it will help you to remember the brachial plexus for long time. For your long MBBS life, you will remember the brachial plexus by just three things, that is C5 C6 root value, C5 C7 root value and C8 T1 root value. So if I talk about C5 C6 root value, it is a trunk, it can be a posterior cord. So if it is a trunk, it can be suprascapular nerve and the subclavius nerve. Suprascapular nerve will supply the supraspinatus muscle which causes 0 to 15 degree abduction and the infraspinatus muscle. The subclavius nerve supply the subclavius muscle. So these nerves are the trunk of C5 C6 root value. Coming to subscapular posterior cord, there is upper subscapular, lower subscapular and the axillary nerve. They all have the C5 C6 root value and all are coming from the posterior cord. So upper subscapular will supply the upper subscapularis muscle, the subscapularis muscle. Lower subscapular will also supply the subscapularis muscle and the teres major muscle. The axillary nerve will supply teres minor muscle and the deltoid muscle. Okay, as simple as that. C5 C7, second thing we have to remember, that is can be a lateral cord or it can be a root. If it is at the root, then it is the long thoracic nerve, that is the nerve to serratus anterior. If it is a lateral cord, then it can be lateral pectoral nerve which will supply the pectoralis muscle, musculocutaneous nerve which will supply the brachialis, coracobrachialis, and the biceps, the two head of the biceps. Lateral root of the median nerve will also arises from the lateral cord. So lateral cord C5, C7 root value are these three. Root C5 to C7 root value long thoracic nerve or nerve to serratus anterior. Now coming to the C8, T1 root value. It is only one, that is a medial cord. It can be medial pectoral nerve which will supply the pectoralis muscle, and the medial anterior cutaneous nerve of the arm and the forearm. Medial cutaneous nerve of the arm and forearm. So it will supply the cutaneous nerve supply to the arm and the forearm, and the median root of the median nerve. So median root of the median nerve, C8, T1 root value from the medial cord, from the lateral cord, lateral root of the median nerve. Now if I add C5 to this C8 to T1, that it will be radial nerve. So radial nerve root value C5 to C8 as well as T1. If we add C7 to it, then C7, C8, T1 is the ulnar nerve root value. If it is only C5, only and only C5, then it is a dorsal scapular nerve. Dorsal scapular nerve or nerve to rhomboideus, because it will supply the rhomboid muscle. Rhomboid as major, rhomboid as minor muscle. So this only this thing we can remember the whole brachial plexus. Just these three, C5, C6, C5, C7, and the